Svalbard, located in the Arctic Ocean, is the northernmost permanently inhabited place on the planet. Despite its freezing temperatures, rugged terrain, and extreme isolation, more than 2,500 people choose to call this icy archipelago home. And the best part? You could live here too, thanks to a unique international treaty that makes it one of the most accessible places on Earth if you meet certain conditions. But with temperatures that plummet well below freezing, endless darkness in the winter, and the constant threat of polar bears, you might be wondering why anyone would choose to live in such an inhospitable place. Let's dive into the geography, history, and lifestyle of Svalbard to understand why it attracts people from all over the world. Svalbard, a group of islands situated halfway between mainland Norway and the North Pole, spans about 61,000 square kilometers, larger than many countries, yet incredibly remote. Its landscape is dominated by towering mountains, vast glaciers, and deep fjords that create a dramatic, otherworldly scene. In fact, it's one of the few places on Earth where nature's raw power is on full display. The archipelago consists of 9 main islands, with Spitsbergen being the largest and most significant. It's home to roughly 60% of the archipelago's population, with most of the infrastructure concentrated in its towns, particularly Longyearbyen. Approximately 60% of Svalbard is covered by glaciers, including some of Europe's largest ice caps, like Nordenskiold Glacier. These glaciers have carved dramatic valleys and left behind stunning moraines, which are rocky remnants of ancient glaciers. The rugged terrain isn't just beautiful, it's also a harsh, unforgiving environment. Glaciers dominate the region, and the lack of arable land means that life is built around survival in extreme conditions. The fjords, like Jordan, are the island's lifeblood. These icy waterways serve as gateways into the heart of the islands, offering access to the interior. Towering mountains and sharp cliffs frame the fjords, creating a surreal and stunning environment where the peaks rise straight from the sea ice. The geography here tells the story of tectonic plate shifts, volcanic activity, and centuries of glaciation. But unlike nearby Iceland, volcanic activity in Svalbard has been dormant for centuries, leaving it with a more stable environment for exploration. Despite its Arctic location, Svalbard's climate is actually milder than you might expect, at least in the summer. The Gulf Stream, a warm ocean current that flows from the tropics, has a significant influence on the region, keeping temperatures just above freezing during the summer months. On July 25th, 2020, a record temperature of 21.7 degrees Celsius was recorded, surprisingly warm for such a northern location, akin to temperatures in San Diego, California. However, don't be fooled. Winters are long, dark, and frigid, with temperatures regularly plummeting well below freezing. In winter, the sun doesn't rise for months, leaving the island in total darkness. This is known as the polar night, a period of continuous night that lasts from late October to mid-February. Conversely, the island experiences the midnight sun in the summer, where the sun never sets, creating 24 hours of daylight from late April to late August. This dramatic shift between constant light and perpetual darkness is both a blessing and a curse for the people living here. While climate change is affecting Svalbard at a rate twice the global average, with permafrost thawing and glaciers retreating, it remains a unique environment where temperatures can vary wildly from season to season. Still, the extreme conditions make life here anything but easy, and those who live here must be prepared for the constant challenges posed by nature. Svalbard has a long and colorful history of human activity, beginning with its discovery in 1596 by Dutch explorer Willem Barents. While Barents was the first to officially document the islands, there's evidence that Russian puma hunters may have visited centuries earlier. After Barents' discovery, Svalbard became a hub for Arctic exploration, attracting whalers from Europe who sought the abundant whale populations, particularly bowhead whales, for their blubber, which could be turned into valuable oil. The whaling industry thrived during the 1600s and 1700s, but overhunting led to the decline of the whale populations, and by the 1800s, the industry collapsed. The region would remain mostly uninhabited until another resource, coal, was discovered. In the late 1800s, coal mining brought Norwegian, Russian, and other international companies to Svalbard, transforming it from a seasonal outpost to a permanent settlement. This coal rush helped establish towns like Longyearbyen, which was founded in 1906, and Barentsburg, a Russian mining settlement. By the late 1800s and early 1900s, Svalbard also became a key location for Arctic exploration, with expeditions launched from its shores to reach the North Pole. Explorers like Roald Amundsen and Umberto Nobile used the islands as a staging ground for their attempts to conquer the pole. This led to international disputes over the ownership of the islands, culminating in the 1920 Svalbard Treaty. The treaty granted Norway sovereignty over the islands, but allowed citizens of all signatory nations to exploit Svalbard's natural resources. This treaty continues to define the political landscape of the region today. Despite its extreme conditions, over 2,500 people live on Svalbard year-round. The majority reside in Longyearbyen, the northernmost town on Earth, with a population of around 1,800. Originally founded as a coal mining outpost, Longyearbyen has evolved into a hub for scientific research, tourism, and education. The town has a surprisingly cosmopolitan feel, with residents from countries all over the world, including Thailand, Russia, Ukraine, and more. The Thai community, in particular, is noteworthy. Although Thailand is far removed from the Arctic, many Thai people first arrived in the 1970s, when Svalbard was one of the few places they could settle without a visa. The open immigration policy, a result of the 1920 Svalbard Treaty, means that citizens from any of the signatory countries can live, work, and explore the island freely. However, residents from countries like Brazil, Mexico, and most African nations are not eligible. This has led to a diverse and transient population, with many residents staying for only a few years before returning home. Living in Svalbard requires adaptability and resilience. The environment demands self-sufficiency. There's no welfare system, and healthcare is basic. The cost of living is high, and basic infrastructure, such as roads, utilities, and public services, is limited. For many, the allure of Arctic life, the excitement of living in such an extreme environment, or the unique opportunities for research and exploration draw them here. Work is a major reason why people choose to live in Svalbard. While coal mining still provides some employment, the economy has shifted toward research, tourism, and education. The University Center in Svalbard offers unique educational opportunities in subjects like Arctic biology, glaciology, and geology, attracting students and scientists from around the world. Svalbard also draws tourists eager to explore its untouched wilderness, participate in wildlife safaris, and take in the unique landscapes. Interestingly, the island has a peculiar law. If you leave the town of Longyearbyen, you must bring a means of scaring off polar bears. While you don't need a gun, polar bears are unpredictable and dangerous, so residents and tourists are required to be prepared for encounters with these apex predators. While life in Svalbard can be exciting, it's also incredibly difficult. The cold, the isolation, and the constant risk of avalanches or polar bear attacks mean that residents must be self-sufficient and hardy. There's no hospital in Longyearbyen, and emergency care is limited. People must be prepared to fend for themselves, especially in the remote settlements of Barentsburg and New York-Alisund, the latter of which is the world's northernmost permanent research station. Climate change is also affecting Svalbard, with glaciers retreating and temperatures rising. This is a significant concern for the region's delicate ecosystems and its residents, as the melting permafrost could disrupt infrastructure and change the landscape permanently. In theory, you could move to Svalbard, provided you're a citizen of one of the signatory countries of the Svalbard Treaty. However, the reality of living there is far from simple. The cost of living is high, jobs are scarce, and basic infrastructure is lacking. It's a place that requires extreme self-reliance and a deep love of adventure. Despite its isolation, Svalbard remains a place that calls to those seeking a life unlike any other, with its breathtaking landscapes and unique opportunities for research and exploration. So, should you pack your bags and head to the Arctic? If you're willing to face the challenges and embrace life on the edge of the world, then perhaps Svalbard is the perfect place for you. But be prepared, the Arctic isn't for the